Hello YouTube, welcome to the Breakfast Club with Got That Funk. Thank you for joining me. This was supposed to have been Saturday's video, but I completely forgot yesterday that Sword Sage and I had traded days. Sword Sage will be doing Mondays from now on the Breakfast Club, and I'll be doing Saturdays. But as I say, I forgot. I'll try not to make the same mistake next week. Next week, though, I might be posting a bit late as well because I will be going to the March for Your Life. There's an event held at the U.S. Embassy in London in solidarity with those going on all over the world, and of course especially in America. I take it that the March for Your Life, March for Our Lives events are happening in all 50 states, which I think is pretty cool. And it wouldn't even surprise me if, all in all, it turns out to be the biggest mass demonstration in U.S. history. But we shall see what we see next weekend. For now, though, I wanted to talk about something which isn't like a hugely pressing social issue or political scandal or anything like that, but it's something that sort of plays on my mind from time to time. As most viewers will probably be aware, automation is increasing in all spheres of our life, and automobiles are no exception to that. Self-driving cars have been in development since at least the 1980s that I'm aware of, and obviously with the advent of things like Google Maps and further improvements to technology, self-driving cars are already being produced, and it's only a matter of time before they're sort of widely taken up in the mass market. But here's my issue. Has there ever been a public outcry, a consumer demand to not have to drive your own car? Because I haven't heard that. You see it in movies and you just assume that that's what the future looks like, and then the automobile manufacturers seem to be pursuing this as well. But for what? To what end? To whose benefit is it? Because like I say, I have not heard a consumer outcry going, you know what, I really don't want to have responsibility for how fast I'm going or whether or not I decide to run over a cat. Because here's the thing about self-driving cars. There's several issues I have with the concept. First of all, the most obvious ones being personal responsibility. If you're behind the wheel of a car which is automated and you have it in that mode to drive, and your car, gets in an accident of some sort. Let's say no one is injured except for you and your vehicle. Are you going to be held responsible for that, or is the company who manufactured the car going to be responsible for that? And if you do injure someone else, again, the same question applies. More to the point, how in the movie I, Robot, Will Smith has a chip on his shoulder against the robots because he had his life saved by a robot when he would have preferred the robot to have saved the life of a child who was in the same car sinking underwater with him. But the robot calculated that he had a greater chance of success of rescuing Will Smith's character, so that's what he did, and then the child drowned. And machines are not capable of making any kind of moral decisions. No matter how much programming you put into it, it is going to calculate the most likely outcome of its own actions and act accordingly. And we may or may not always agree that those decisions are going to be moral. For example, if someone runs out in front of a car that's being automatically navigated, it might be deduced by the machine that it's preferable to run over that pedestrian than to risk the lives of the 4 passengers in the car by swerving out of the way. How do these decisions get made? It would be one thing if every single car on the road was automated and they all were sort of in tune with each other. So, but that still wouldn't necessarily be that much safer. Whose personal responsibility is it when something goes wrong? That's a question. How are moral decisions going to be made by a computer? That's another question. As a driver of a car yourself, are you willing to surrender your control? Put your life into the hands of a computer program? Really? Because that's what you're doing. I mean, it's different when someone's, say driving a bus or whatever. You're obviously putting your life into someone else's hands when you're doing that. Or being the passenger in any kind of a vehicle for that matter. You're putting a certain degree of trust into the operator of the vehicle. But at least the operator of the vehicle has a conscience and will feel the same pain that you feel if you get into an accident. The automobile that is automated won't have that. So I'm curious what you guys think. Number one, do you think there's a major outcry for automated, robot-driven, or just, automatic cars? I haven't heard it. Perhaps if there has been an outcry for that, you could point me to it. The only people I could see that might benefit from self-driving cars would be people who are too incapacitated to really drive anymore, like people who are elderly, for example. But that again raises the question, what happens if something goes wrong? You should always be able to take control over your vehicle should the automation fail, for example. So there's that issue. So yeah, has there been a consumer outcry for it? Would you feel safe letting a computer program drive your vehicle with yourself and perhaps maybe your family members in it as well? And what would it do to think not just insurance costs? I mean, should you even have to pay for insurance yourself? Should you be held liable yourself if the automated vehicle gets into an accident and it had nothing to do with your control? I don't know. These questions kind of bother me, and I'd really like to find out what the audience thinks. So hit me up with all your comments in the comment section below. Kazoom Fowler should be here later with another video on The Breakfast Club. Sword Sage will be here on Monday. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next weekend. Until then, thanks for watching. May all your ups and downs be ups. Peace.